quantum computing has had a very exciting year in 2025. I want to look at a few different videos and do a react here. We're going to look at Charles Payne on Fox Business. We're going to listen to the CEO of Quantum Emotion, and we're going to listen to IBM and their quantum future plans. We're going to do all of this as efficiently as possible, so let's jump right in.
Said quantum computing, it's interesting, but like the Star Trek kind of stuff, way in the future. I mean, even McKinsey had this really long timeline. Of course, that was until this year. Now the firm says that the game is on when it comes to quantum. Signs from Wall Street also that the game is on. Just in the past 24 hours, check this out. D-Wave just raised $400 million in a stock offering that was at a premium, and a major Wall Street firm initiated coverage on quantum this morning. So things are certainly looking up in the world of quantum. I'm going to bring in the man that was there long before the rest of Wall Street, EMJ Capital founder and president, Eric Jackson. Eric, so you've got Cantor. Cantor starts 4 firms on Wall Street on quantum, right? You got QBTS with a $20 target, Rigetti, RGTI 15, IonQ 45. I mean, how remarkable is it? I know you must love it.
Well, kudos to you, Charles, because 6 months ago, you called me up, said, "Hey, I want you to come on, talk about quantum." Nobody was talking about quantum back then, and look at those returns since then.
And to Charles' credit, I don't know if any of you watched Charles, but he was actually at D-Wave Qubits 2025 conference, and he was on stage, so that was pretty cool. So Charles is definitely a friend of quantum.
One that I was pounding the table on back then was this little micro cap company called BTQ Technologies in post-quantum cryptography. It's been a 25 bagger in the last 6 months, Charles. So kudos to you. And I think this run is getting started. I think back then I said BTQ was 1,000 bagger. So yeah. we got a 40 bagger still to go with BTQ. But those other names are great. IonQ is a solid company. And this is like investing in Bitcoin back in 2014, 2015. This is still so early.
So, okay. And so you had the BTQ. You also had the DeFi. They made big runs. For the audience, just to be clear, you still think they're buys?
Yeah, I do. BTQ, it's just getting started. It's just in the process of uplisting to NASDAQ. They are, we're still so early in terms of, needing the security to protect ourselves from these quantum attacks. So they're just getting started. I still see a 40 bagger ahead for them.
It's interesting that he's talking about BTQ, which has had a pretty meteoric rise as far as a company that will be listed on the NASDAQ. And I've been looking into it, and it has gone up considerably. And as the mainstream media gets more comfortable with just the basic fundamentals of quantum computing, what it is, I think more and more people are starting to understand that if this goes wrong, if it goes south, then companies that are focused on quantum cybersecurity are going to be very valuable. So you can kind of see that in this interview. All right, let's take a look on that topic at the future of cybersecurity. And this is with a company called Quantum Emotion. This company is not listed on the NASDAQ yet. The CEO is Francis Polito, and he had an interesting interview. So
to the US and China in terms of the economy. So it is a huge headache today. But what's coming, in fact, it's probably also has the potential to be an apocalypse, because everybody's starting to be aware today, at least at the level of big companies in countries, at the level of, administrations like in the US, they're already being very much aware, starting to implement, trying to implement solutions, is to be prepared for the quantum computers attack. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, okay? And there is a lot of, talking about and discussions about when it's going to happen. There are the pessimistic and the optimistic, but in any case, any prediction in the future is always wrong in terms of, when it's going to happen, for sure. But but what is actually really a truth, is that you can't just wait to the threat to happen. It will be too late. So you have to prepare yourself.
Yeah. I would offer this. If you were at a home that was in the path of a hurricane, it would probably behoove you to board up your windows and get somewhere safe, whether that's your home or evacuate the area. There is a level of complacency with cybersecurity that can backfire in a catastrophic way. And I think that's what he's talking about here. And these quantum cybersecurity companies are talking about. And as you hear more about Quantum Emotion's product, I think it helps to shape how they're trying to address this problem.
Because it's complicated, you need to deploy, sophisticated technologies to be able to be ready. So this is the big challenge, right now. In fact, it's to convince companies, and administration institutions to move forward, and trying to adopt this technology that can make a big difference, in the way to bring your preparedness, in fact, preparation to a different level, where you will remove a little bit of stress, to your operations to your business if you have the right technology. Innovation. We have actually the foundation of the company is a technology that currently was granted 4 patents, from the U.S. Patent Office. It's called a QRNG based on a quantum electron tunnel effect. This is a very original invention because he produces and generates random numbers, pure random numbers, with the foundation, in fact, of the quality of encryption. The encryption quality is going to depend actually on the quality of the random numbers
And I've talked about this before, and I've covered this on the channel, but true random is actually very difficult to do. So for a system to truly generate a random number, we have to go to extents like basing a seed and a random number on something like the radiation of some sort of element. That's how far you have to go to get random. Except now enter quantum, and quantum has the ability to do true random, which true random means true security. If there's predictable random, the key here and the nuance here, if there is a predictability to the randomness, then it can be reverse engineered. And RSA encryption can be reverse engineered with a sufficiently powerful computer.
Used to seed the encryption loop, So this is a very, I would say, a very strong, innovation, because it will allow to have QRNGs and random numbers in all kinds of sort of applications, because of the ubiquity, the flexibility of our technology, also the affordability of our technology. So we'll be able to create now architectures that would be, funded, be easily fundable. And also, I think that from an architecture point of view, they will assure that you added actually unpredictability into your architecture. So that means that you will have defenses against the cyber criminals that will be uncrackable.
That's the name of the game.
I would say that it's difficult actually to talk about just one milestone, because I think we have a couple of ones, but probably the closest one will be actually the deployment of our platform that is actually composed of entropy as a service associated with what we call post-quantum encryption and classical encryption too. So that combination actually creates a double layer of quantum technology protection.
So I really liked how the CEO here, Francis Polito, explained some of these concepts in a digestible way. And it looks like they have a very sharp product that is going to be something that could potentially have a high demand. And I believe he mentioned somewhere in this interview, I'm not sure if it's in the recorded tape, that their solutions are relatively affordable as well, which is important when infrastructure stacks are looking at deploying post-quantum security measures. So very interesting, cybersecurity. Let's take a look at IBM and their quantum computing future.
Science challenges of actually making quantum a reality.
Absolutely. I mean, the whole thing here is that we've cracked the code in actually building something that's realistic and planning for this with a full architecture, which gives us the roadmap to go year after year of new technologies to hit that milestone in 2029 with IBM Sterling.
Can you take us from here in 2025 to 2029? What needs to be achieved? Because there is so much hype. We kind of want to disentangle what actually becomes reality.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great question. There's a lot of work that's been going on in small demonstrations of error correction and the concepts that make us believe that error correction can work. But what we've defined is a technology roadmap that takes us from an error-corrected memory and the technologies that go into that, then into operations across multiple memories, and then into a larger scale system that brings in the operations that are needed for universal control to do any kind of algorithm. That gets us to Starling. So year after year of new technologies in our roadmap.
Okay, people are excited. IBM shares are at a record high, and I'm sure there's no surprise that has come in at the same time as some of your announcements. Can you talk to us about the different ways that different companies are deploying this? Because we've had, a year or so ago, what was it, the Heron chip from you guys really set the bar, but we've also had the Willow chip coming from the likes of Google. You've had Ocelot out of Amazon, and there are different ways of doing quantum.
That's right.
How is what you're doing different from some of the other competitors?
Yeah, so I think we've really taken an approach of getting this out there and really building the whole ecosystem around us. We've actually been putting these out on the cloud since 2016. First, just a 5-qubit machine back then, right? And we've been successfully scaling since then. And we have multiple 100-qubit machines, the Heron processors, that are available to our cloud users today. So there's an ecosystem of many users and companies that are leveraging our machines to actually find and discover new algorithms and applications.
When you say many,
I think it's a really good question also from the interviewer here, that there's so many players in the game. So what differentiates IBM from all the other players? And I don't think it's a winner takes all situation with quantum. I think that trapped ion quantum computing and superconducting quantum computing and quantum annealing, all of these different methodologies, all of these different type of compute will have a space and a use.
many users? What are we talking about?
We have over 500,000 users. We have a business ecosystem, our IBM Quantum Network of nearly 300 institutions, companies, startups, national laboratories, academia.
And the reason everyone gets so excited when we hear of the latest, greatest chip, when we hear of a roadmap to 2029 is because of the things it could do.
Absolutely.
But what are they doing it with these 500,000 people that are already out there?
Yeah, so like there's a lot of work that's getting ready for the larger systems, but also we're in this phase where we're going to hit quantum advantage in the next few years.
And what's quantum advantage?
It's when we can do something that's cheaper, faster, or more accurately using a quantum computer plus classical computer than just a classical computer alone.
It's a bit like AGI, but for quantum versus normal computers.
Yeah, and you're already starting to see the intrusion of using it with.
And there's a nuance there that I do want to kind of pluck out. He's saying that the quantum computer will complement the classical computer so that the two together will produce better results than one. I think there's a misconception in quantum computing that a quantum computer will just replace NVIDIA chips. It will replace computers. It's going to have specialized and niche uses and use cases, but it's going to enhance what we're able to do currently. So it's better to look at it as something that will make our current compute stack better and more efficient.
With high-performance supercomputers to look at things like molecular structure, which is a very hard problem that you tend to only use high-performance computers for.
And that is why everyone thinks medical applications are going to be so important. But everyone's also got very excited about the fact that quantum is going to help with generative AI. How is that feeding into your roadmap?
Yeah, it's a really, really good point, because I think, AI is the buzz. Obviously, quantum is also coming right at the same time. I think the way to think about it is it's additive, right? There are certain algorithms in the AI space that quantum can help with, but also what we see here is really that we're defining the future of computing. It's really bits, neurons, and qubits, right? They all need to be working together in an architecture we call quantum-centric supercomputing. So you're going to have your CPUs, you're going to have your GPUs, and we're going to have your QPUs as well, all working together to solve problems that best leverage each of those modalities for parts of the problem and giving you overall more power.
I'm going to offer this because I was on a drive and decided to have a long conversation with my chat GPT, who I have named Jarvis for obvious reasons. And I was talking to him about the future supercomputer stack. And I just asked him some non-leading questions about what he thinks a supercomputer center will look like of the future. And of course, the answer was something like the traditional supercomputers that we have plus quantum. And I asked him to go deeper. And he talked about trapped ion. He talked about superconducting. And I also asked about annealing. And I said, is it possible that all of these different types of quantum computing could be used alongside GPUs and CPUs to produce powerful results for different types of problems? And could the weak point of one quantum system complement a different quantum system that has a strength, and vice versa?
Putting it in the hands of people, power probably is one of the key words you're thinking of. Is that going to be a bottleneck? We keep thinking about how power and infrastructure is the limiting factor when it comes to AI right now.
I mean, certainly one of the key selling points for quantum is actually how efficient it can be. For the types of problems that you're looking to solve, which require large, high-performance supercomputers, we're doing it at a fraction of the power, despite even the infrastructure that we're building around some of our superconducting qubit architectures.
Millions, tens of millions, hundreds of $1 million are spent on data centers and the energy that they require every month. If you combine all of these huge data centers running all these LLMs, it's very inefficient. It costs a lot of money in just sheer energy. So if quantum's able to come in and start solving some of those problems, what do you guys think is going to happen to the quantum sector when one of these huge tech companies has a breakthrough, like one of the Mag 7 has a breakthrough with quantum, or they make a partnership with one of these pure plays and they bring one of their quantum systems into their supercomputing stack to enhance their LLM model and their AI data center and compute stack? It's going to be crazy.
Look, can you talk about the architecture of the ecosystem for us as well? Because Jensen Huang suddenly kind of corrected himself on what he thinks is going to take until 20 years from now, he thought would be when quantum computers become really useful, and then he backtracked. Ultimately, he's probably backtracking because he sees this as a business line and an opportunity for him. Where does IBM fit in terms of who it sells to and who it works alongside?
So
Well, honestly, he's backtracking because he got it wrong. And it's okay, it did damage a lot of investors. It damaged a lot of quantum pure plays. But the fact that Jensen is talking about quantum in keynotes and earnings calls on stage and in discussions, advanced discussions to invest in quantum should tell you everything you need to know about where this is going and the potential of this computing.
Our strategies really provide the differentiating computing platform in terms of the hardware and the software at the bottom, and then building this ecosystem all around it. A big part of our strategy has been having an open source software development kit, Qiskit, which really appeals to a broader set of users so that different startups, users can all be plugged into using this in addition to their other computing resources.
So mainstream media is initiating coverage on a lot of the quantum pure plays and giving them price targets that are at or above where they currently are. We're seeing that there's startup quantum cybersecurity companies that offer unique products that could solve problems that could be major headaches for enterprises and businesses and so on down the road. And finally, we're seeing huge companies like IBM, and you wouldn't first think IBM and quantum, but IBM is one of the only companies that has made a ton of money from quantum. In fact, $1 billion so far. Additionally, IBM is accelerating their roadmap, And we're going to see some really powerful machines from IBM in the next couple years. All of these together paint the picture of a very exciting sector and a very exciting space. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I had a lot of fun making this video. If you're interested, our Discord, if you want to join, you can join as a channel member on this YouTube channel, and we are popping off over there. We're talking about charts, we're going over technicals, we're talking about buys and sells, and we're having a lot of fun. So come join us and have a great weekend.